Hey Rockstars, I'm JB, expert salesperson and master presenter.
I'm the doctor, psychologist, and behavioral expert.
This is the Entrepreneurial Mastery Lab podcast.
We're high-performance coaches that help service-based professionals and entrepreneurs take their skills to the next level.
70% of entrepreneurs fail, which is why every week we have real talk with real entrepreneurs to help ensure you are not one of them.
We're also the inventors of the Be Rich mindset,
where we rise to mastery,
inspire greatness,
celebrate knowledge,
and help others along the way.
So join us in the lab.
And now, on to the show.
Welcome back to the lab. I'm JB.
I'm the doctor.
If this is your first time listening in, welcome, and you are in for a treat as always. We're happy to have you, and thanks for checking us out. If you happen to be coming back again because you love us, thank you. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, subscribe, follow, like, and share. We depend on you for our growth, and we're super excited because, like we say in our introduction, this is all about real talk with real professionals. So super pumped to be here again, Doc.
So you really like the people that have been listening longer than you like the people that haven't been listening.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Don't
you go there.
Just putting it out there.
Man.
I'm just thankful for both of them, like equally. Like I like to give thanks, especially around this time of year. I like to give thanks to everybody, the people listening forever, or the people that are listening for the very first time.
So I gotta create some perspective for our audience here, because I feel like you're just like goading me right now. He's just trying to get under my skin, folks.
What do you
so there's a whole pre-conversation that goes on. None of you know anything about the pre-conversation. We're talking about the holidays. I'm not even gonna go into it, but I got a bone to pick with you after this, sir.
See, you can just be thankful that I give you such good material.
I am so grateful for you, Doc. I don't know what I'd do without you.
But you're missing the whole point. We're not supposed to be grateful. We're supposed to be thankful. Why? What's happening this week besides eating turkey and pumpkin pie?
I don't know. I don't know, but it's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. Man, I can't believe we're just teeing up to the end of the year. It's come fast. I hope everybody's having as good of a Q4 as I am. Are you, Doc? How's your quarter going, man?
I don't know. I'm just very thankful that it's coming to an end and that we are.
I'm gonna reach through this microphone and slap. I might slap you through the microphone.
Thankful we get a few days off at the end of the week.
If anybody didn't know, it's Thanksgiving or about to be Thanksgiving, or just maybe happened to already be Thanksgiving. I'm not going to give the secret away. Something along
Thanksgiving this week we'll be celebrating. I think it's interesting too, because Thanksgiving is a very American holiday in a lot of sense, but today our guest is international. But it's very relevant because what we're going to be talking about is one of the biggest things that happens around Thanksgiving week, which I think we've lost track of, right? It's no longer about Thanksgiving, it's about the day after.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not about Thanksgiving at all. It's Friday, it's Monday, it's not about being thankful anymore, is it?
Thankful you get discounts.
Yeah.
Thankful I spent less money on that deal or bought the thing that I didn't need. But we'll let our guest into that. I just wanted to, it's like a little tease.
And I wonder about that, man, because Thanksgiving, obviously very American holiday, but Black Friday, Cyber Monday, those are international, right? So you see all the videos in the US about people, the mobs going crazy in the malls. I kind of wonder, does that happen anywhere else besides the US? Probably not. Like, we're probably pretty special in that regard.
Oh yeah. We're special, all right, with that.
Maybe not something to hang your hat on. But let's introduce our guest, because super excited to have her here. We've got Joy Nicholson with Unleash Your Marketing and Unleash Your Focus podcast. Joy is our farthest distanced guest to date out of New Zealand. And thank you for joining us, Joy. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. I just love how you rip each other off. This is going to be an awesome podcast. I can feel the energy. It's awesome.
Before we get started, Joy, have you ever tackled anybody in the store for a good deal?
No.
No.
We don't have the tackleness happening here, which I have seen videos of.
Hashtag goals.
It might be on brand though. Unleash the inner, the inner beasts there, come at them. And so I do have to ask, you were listening in, obviously. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, not just US, right? That's international, right?
100%. Yeah. We don't attack each other. Well, anyway, where I live in New Zealand, but we do have queues of people going around shops getting the deals. Yeah. Especially when it comes to electronic type things. It's very popular.
So is it very like orderly queues? Are people very polite?
It depends, I guess, where you're going. Like I've never been in Auckland, which is like the main capital, over that period specifically. So I can't talk for there because there's a lot more people in Auckland than where I am. So there could be some there, but I've never heard of a case where somebody gets stomped on or pushed or the craziness behind the things that I know the Americans do. No offense, but you guys are awesome. But when it comes to shopping, I think you definitely amped it up a level in comparison to the rest of the world.
Can I confide something in you both? This might shock both of you. I have never in my life shopped on Black Friday, nor have I ever in my life bought something on Cyber Monday.
I have half that down. I have definitely shopped on Cyber Monday because I'm just too lazy to go to the store for Black Friday. But Cyber Monday, I didn't have to leave my couch and I got a couple of good deals.
I one time I tried. I feel like I went onto Amazon for like their lightning deals one Cyber Monday, and I was like, this is too much. I just can't. And just there, it was a lot of stuff that I have no interest in buying. I'm a very, I know what I want kind of ahead of time. Usually when I buy something, I'm not a consumer that just purchases. I'm very specific when I purchase. I usually know exactly what I want. So unless it's exactly that, I'm not likely to buy it. Is there something wrong with me, Joy?
No, there's not. But you know what? It's not just always about the products. It can also be
He's a smart
one. It can be coaching programs and things like that, that people buy. I myself, I've bought into very expensive coaching programs and got them at a good deal with the Cyber Mondays and things. So it's just about, what type of things you need in your business and not just products. It doesn't need to be a new microphone or something. It could be something else. And then go and stalk people that are good in the marketing space and what would actually sell these products. And then, go see what they offer around those times.
So that's a good point. When you put on the lens of not just being a consumer, but being a professional and running a business and looking for opportunities out there, certainly, a lot of coaching programs, you find discounts on Black Friday and Cyber Monday and throughout the holidays. So it can be a really good time to purchase that. Joy, I'm going to ask you the question I ask everybody who we get on this podcast, because it to me is always so interesting, our backgrounds and what brings us to where we're at. How did you get into Unleash Your Marketing? I mean, like kind of what brought about the desire and the passion to start up Unleash Your Marketing?
Before you answer that, Joy, I want to be a proper host. I can't speak for my cohort here, but would give you the opportunity to at least introduce yourself to our audience, who's probably going like, who are we talking to? Because JB is very rude. He didn't introduce you.
Thank God for you, Doc. I don't know what I would do without you, right? I'm in a nice flow with her. I'm asking great questions. We're having a wonderful conversation. Now we need to know who she is. I guess for our audience's sake.
Yeah, we don't want to miss out on that. The audience they need to hear who we're speaking to, especially when they're great like Joy.
All right. So I'm Joy Nicholson. I'm originally from South Africa. And I have to say this because when I say I'm living in New Zealand, people think there's something really wrong with my accent, or I'm half Australian, or I don't know, I get all these weird things. So I'm just putting it out there. And I have been in sales and marketing basically my entire life. I've had sales and marketing roles, which involves a lot of cold calling. I even did door knocking. Anything sales and marketing has been my career. And I did a lot of long hours in jobs throughout the years. And then about 3 years ago, I had a 1-year-old. He's now 4. And I just decided, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to have my own business. I don't want to do the hours. And then I tried all different kinds of things. And then, it's typical as you start out on your own business. But before that, I had different ventures that failed. And, this is not like the first thing that I actually did that like over the years, I've had very many things that failed. And when I decided, okay, that's it, I'm not going to actually fail anymore, I'm going to make this work, I started out with Shopify stores and affiliate products and all different kinds of things. And I was like, I hate this. What am I doing? And then I thought, well, why not do the thing that I know how to do? And that's to help people with marketing. I mean, I've been doing this literally most of my life. And that's what I started doing. And that's how I got into it. And then I did a lot of one-on-one coaching. And that's very time consuming. And I did a lot of done for you agency stuff, which is also a lot of time consuming. And I'm a mom of 2 kids, so I don't have the time for all of that. And then earlier this year, I started my group coaching program, which has been fantastic. And it's more for, I'm happy when my students are happy. Like yesterday, for example, we had a call, and 3 of the students that was on the call, they've got their funnels ready. On the previous calls, people have been making sales. And that's what I do. And I'm focusing on the small businesses that can't afford. I know I'm that weirdo that actually wants to help small businesses that can't afford things, because a lot of people just want to charge them like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to do something. And I'm focusing to help them as much as I can affordably, so they can actually generate leads and sales and actually just, create a business for themselves. Yeah. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
That was awesome. And I might just add that I love that you managed to answer my question as you were sharing who you are. So take that, Doc. She knows what she's doing. She's pretty good, huh?
We have talented guests.
Joy, I was reading a post on LinkedIn recently, and it was somebody who's saying, oh, I can afford to fail because I don't have a family and I don't have a kid and I don't have this or that. Do you think having a son and really having that fire that having a kid can really create, and that responsibility, do you think that helped you overcome that decision to, hey, I am going to succeed this time, that this is going to happen, I'm not going to let it be a failure? Do you think that influenced that?
Most definitely, yes. Because you know what I did? Probably, just a little bit of a fun backstory. I started my very own business when I was 5 years old, and me and my cousin were creating beaded jewelry, and we sat outside of my grand's house selling this beaded jewelry to the traffic that walks past. That was my very first business. And then I did beaded jewelry and all kinds of jewelry making until I was like in my late 20s. I'm not going to reveal my age, but it's not something that I've just not done. And in between, I literally had a business. This is my many failures. I had a business where you go to people's houses and you set up kids parties. And I had another business where I tried website design, which I don't even know what I was thinking because I'm not a techie. But yeah, I had lots of different things. And I did, when we moved from South Africa to New Zealand, because I've been in sales and marketing for so long, for some reason, if you don't have New Zealand experience, you can't find a job in doing what in that field, because you have to have the experience. And so I had to temp in government agencies, which I hated. I had to be a personal assistant. I was like, vomit, I can't do it. I really hated it. So I did that for like a few years, just on and off. It was never a thing that I was going to do. So I would work for 2 months and not work for 3, and, just like a little bit of here and there. And that made me realize that if I can't get a job doing the thing that I love to do, why not just do my own thing? And like I said, at that time, my now 4-year-old was 1 year old. And I was like, now I can have this business that I've always desired. And it's not easy being a mom, and I had now he's 8 years old almost. So I had a 4 and a 1 year old, and starting a business, and I was still employed. And at that stage, I actually got like a part-time job where I was working for a marketing agency / consultancy agency. And I worked at that stage, I worked 25 hours a week. And I love my boss. I still have a really good relationship with her. She's a really awesome person. She's from Russia. She's like this real awesome, strong-headed Russian woman that taught me a lot about things. But I never felt fulfilled. And I just needed to do something that I can feel give me the freedom of time and also money to just spend it with my kids and things. And to me, that was more important than anything.
One of the things that always sticks out to us, we have a big belief and value system, the be rich mindset. Part of the core of that really is that we think everybody wants and has a desire to be part of something larger than themselves. And I personally believe having a family and a child can kind of self-generate that when you might not have it otherwise, right? So, it's great to be on your own and you have a lot of flexibility and freedom to be on your own. But if you don't have that sort of community to be a part of, I think you tend to miss out on a lot of what creates a fulfilling life and an experience. One of the things I want to comment on, or maybe I'm going to ask the doc to just comment on, is the failure aspect of your experience. We've got pretty strong belief system around that too, don't we, Doc?
We definitely do. First, I want to just level the other thing. There's plenty of successful people that also haven't had that same kind of motivation with the family. They use some of that internal. Just we're all different, and I think we've said that a bunch of times that we're not created equal. So the things that motivate.
I'm not saying you need that, Doc. I'm just saying that it can be a prompt, right? If you don't have a community that's a creation point for a lot of people.
Right. And sometimes that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we find the community in other ways because you might not have that same driving factor of a family or a kid that does that, but they might find the community in other places. And that can be just as valuable too. So it doesn't have to be it's not a one size fits all. And I think it's just important to kind of rehash that occasionally for our listeners that might be feeling that way.
As if we don't say it every time we talk, but go for our new listeners. I'll give it to you.
Exactly. You said there might be somebody new listening for the first time. But yeah, failures. I mean, I take a different, interesting look at failures in general. I look at life as just a big experiment, right? And something JB and I speak about a lot of the times is we are running an experiment every day. And when you run an experiment, there's going to be things that succeed and there's going to be things that fail. And those failures are actually where we get most of our data. As a scientist, if you're running an experiment, you hope to fail on most of them because that's going to give you clear answers on what's going to work. So failure is just a word that we use, but I never think of it as something negative. I always just think of it as something very positive that helps just give you more evidence, more data to strive forward with the next iteration of what you're trying.
And Joy, you even mentioned something along those lines in the evolution of your business, where it's grown to, because you mentioned the group coaching or the individual coaching, I'm sorry. And you mentioned the done for you agency and the shift to group coaching, because those experiments, they weren't working for you in your business and what you wanted to create. And there's meat to that, right? I think that is a big part of what all small businesses especially go through, is identifying really what works for you. You are the business in a lot of ways, what works for you and what doesn't work. So I have a question I want to ask you. It's really interesting. You said you try to really focus on businesses that maybe can't afford a lot of the services that you try to offer. What was the genesis? I mean, what made you kind of come to that decision and say, hey, this is my spot?
You know what? I actually love this question because I get this asked quite a lot, and especially with peers that do a lot of high ticket sales. And they get upset with me and they would say to me, why don't I do high ticket sales? I'm like, you don't understand. I've been there. I've done that. I didn't enjoy it. And for me, it's not about, yes, money. Obviously, you need to live, right? So you have to create money. But it's not about the money that's driving me. It's the result that I get from people. Now, I have this incredible passion and I can't explain where it comes from. It's just something I've always had, is I want to help small business owners. I want to help them to create the thing that they want. So a lot of the people in my group coaching is people that they're just starting a business. They've been in business for like a year. So they technically haven't really made a lot of money and they just don't know what they're doing. But also it's businesses that, because I took myself back, and this is how this all came about. I took myself back when I started out. I was in a fortunate position where I could buy into coaching programs, and I could, and I've learned about failures, exactly what you guys are talking about. I've learned about failures, and like I penalized myself for having failures in the past. And then this course taught me it's like you actually need to fail to succeed. And a lot of business owners, and that I stick with me. I actually have a thing here about failures to succeed, but that stick with me. And a lot of the time when I'm speaking to these small business owners that I'm helping now, they are so stuck in their failure ways. They don't think that they can ever succeed. And then they've bought into these expensive coaching programs and done for you services. But then unfortunately, they're literally wasting their money because they didn't go into it with the right mindset. Or unfortunately for them, it's just like a guru teaching them stuff that doesn't help for them because they're not at that level. And this is what I've done, which I think it's different than what I've seen other people do, is I take them back all the way to the beginning and I teach them step by step how to implement things. And it's because I really want to see them. I want to see businesses pop up everywhere. I want to see the world's problems being solved with people breaking the poverty cycles, teaching their children things, with businesses popping up everywhere, because the more businesses, the less poverty. And that's just, I know it sounds cliche, but that's the thing that drives me with all these business owners. And I'll give you an example, like here in Oxford where I live. I mentioned to you guys in the beginning, like I live in Oxford. So it's a small town. It's got about 2,500 people. Maybe a little bit more because there's been some housing building and things going on. But this town, we have a Facebook group because, small community, people like to talk and everybody knows everybody. And there's this Facebook group that is about the businesses that's in this town. And I've more or less calculated it. So in this tiny little community, there is about 25% of people living here that actually owns a business. That is a lot for like a tiny town like this. And unfortunately, all of these businesses, and most of them are brick and mortar, anything from fixing lawnmowers to walking dogs. Like, I'm not joking. There's all kinds. And we even have somebody that like puts spa pools in, and other people doing fencing. It's really it's so different, the types of businesses that's out here. And none of those people have the money to buy into coaching programs because, they're only making just enough to live. And that's where I come in. And I want to teach these people to go to the next level, to grow and scale, to actually generate leads on a consistent basis. And yeah, so I hope that answered the question, but that's really the drive that I've got.
I think it's one of the reasons I was so excited to chat with you on the podcast, because it's so aligned with our feelings, which is just, 70% of businesses here in the States fail. If you look at the UK, it's 80%. So most businesses will fail. Most people will fail. We don't think that should be the case. We really do believe there should be a different way to do business. The resources, the insight, the wisdom, it's all out there and available. So where do you find it? How do you get it in front of people? How do you support people, whether they can afford these expensive programs or not? And we offer expensive programs. So we get it. It is not it is not something that's within reach of somebody who's living within their means. It's also why we believe in offering scholarships to what we do, to facilitate access for people that are underserved and can't get there. So a ton of respect coming from me. I won't speak for the doc, ton of respect coming from this side for what you're doing, Joy, and the market that you've chosen to really put your time and energy into. That's awesome.
Yeah, I do. You need to find what's right for you. And like I said, I've had so many peers that tells me all this, like, you need to start charging more. And why don't you do this? And why don't you do that? And you need to, and this is something that I always tell my audience as well, you need to find that something that makes you feel fulfilled. Success looks different for everybody. Success might mean that you make $1 million. Success might mean that you just spend actually 25 hours a week with your children. That's what I'm doing now. I don't need to work that many hours. I only work 25 hours a week in my business. That's it. I don't need to do more. And, I've got the income to support it. I've got my children that I can spend time with, and I'm happy. So you need to find that medium that's right for you. And it might take you a month. It might take you 3 years. It might take you in between. But that's the key, I think, honestly, to success, and finding that in between thing that works for you. And hey, you'll have a lot of failures before you get there. That's the reality.
Speaking of making money, let's pause a second for our sponsor.
Hey, y'all. It's the doctor from JB and the Doctor. Just wanted to talk quickly about our 2-on-1 coaching service that we offer, as well as our group coaching program that's also available. As high-performance coaches for service-based professionals and entrepreneurs, we are hyper-focused on improving your presentation and positioning, powering up your productivity, and supercharging your sales. As we all know, people, we're just different, and one size does not fit all. So it's important to work with those that understand this and can tailor their program and training specific to your needs. And that is exactly what we do here at JB and the Doctor. With our Mastery with Science system and approach, we provide both the how and the why, proven by experience and backed by science. So to take advantage of this truly unique approach with the expertise of 2 coaches providing you with the very best of self and business coaching, just check out our website at jbandthedoctor.com/services for more information or to schedule an exploratory phone call. That's jbandthedoctor.com/services.
I love the conversation around the failure aspect, because you will hear a lot of gurus and a lot of people that they say, hey, we'll get you from point A to point B as fast as possible in a straight line. But funny enough, when it comes to math and science, which we talk about all the time, a straight line is not always the fastest path to where you want to go from point A to point B, right? It could be a lot faster depending on what you're doing with a longer path or a path that doesn't go straight. So it just goes to show failures can, provide you with, I think, the data is probably how we describe it to get to the results you really want to get to, and maybe help you figure out exactly what those results are. Because to your point, the results that I think equate to success aren't necessarily the results that equate to success for you, right? It's we're all unique, and one size doesn't fit all, Doc, right?
It does not.
No.
So Joy, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to add to, because this is something that we talk a lot about in my group coaching program as well. And like I said, like these business owners, there are people that they're just starting out, or they haven't actually made money in their business in like the first year, or very little, So this is my group. This is the people I love. And just something that comes up often when we have our group conversations, it's that mindset of succeeding, and that ties in again with failure. But it's not just that, it's more than that. It's the willingness to succeed. I think that's something that is overlooked a lot. And if you can find, because Doc was talking earlier about community, if you can find a community that supports you in what you want to do, that is incredibly important. And if you can join a coaching program or get a mentor in what you want to do in like your niche, then that is very important as well for business. That's something I would strongly recommend. It's helped me a lot. And I'm sure with you guys as well, you need to have a coach. A coach needs a coach. It's just, you just need that somebody to talk to. And
I think what you said, it makes a lot of sense also. And it's so underrated and underspoken about, is the fear of success. We're so used to trying and not succeeding in a lot of things. Like, if you hear those statistics, 70% business fails. I think most things in your life, you fail. Most experiments that happen fail. That's how you learn. But there's that fear of success also. What happens if I become successful? What happens if it actually takes? And I have to do it. And that's scary for a lot of people. So they get that mindset. They get kind of stuck and not know what to do next. So having a coach is very helpful.
You know what's funny, Doc? I am like this job that I had before I started my own business 3 years ago. A lot of it was cold calling, and it's exactly that. What you're talking about is that fear of succeeding as well. And I would call a lot of businesses. That was my thing. Call like 50 people a day. That's selling. And I sold a business-to-business database that obviously with emails and things like that, but not just emails, but phone numbers. And a lot of small business owners, and I mean, it would be people that's accounting firms and lawyers and, service-based businesses. And then I would sell this product. And I had it at least 2 or 3 times a week where somebody would say to me, if I buy your product, then that means I have to grow my company. I'm like, well, that's the idea, right? That's the point behind this. And I had it so many times when they say to me, no, I don't want to grow my company. We are happy where we are. I'm like, but are you really happy? You're working like 60-hour weeks. You're in a one-to-one business. Like what life is that? I mean, let's be real. And I spoke to my boss at the time, like I said, she's this like really strong-willed Russian woman, love her to pieces. And she said that is when because she's been in New Zealand for about 20 years. And she says that was something that was very obvious to her as well, is that people don't want to grow. They don't want to scale their business. And I don't know if it's like just, and I'm not knocking this in any way, shape or form, but I think it's because New Zealand specifically is it's a small country. I mean, the entire country is like 5 million people. So, I mean, it's a small population. And I think the mentality around a lot is that people, they don't want to grow, they don't want to scale, because if they do, then they need to find people to work with, because you can't just grow and scale without people, you need staff. And I think that's also sometimes a problem, is like people struggle to actually appoint people and appoint the right people in their business. And then if they grow and scale, they can't manage all of those things. And then they fall back onto basically without those clients, or they struggle, or they get stuck. And I've seen that happen a lot, actually.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, we had that conversation on a previous podcast about how important it is to find the right people when you do scale, and how much it can set you back to choose poorly with that. What I find interesting is, that fear we're talking about, and kind of, I call it contentment, because I don't think it's real satisfaction, but I think there's a contentment with being stable and consistent, whether or not it's really enjoyable. It goes right back to sales. So your background, sales, Joy, my background is absolutely sales, and people will not make a change unless they're uncomfortable. And you've got to make somebody really uncomfortable for them to want to make a change.
Yes.
That desire is not there. I mean, it doesn't matter that I'm working 60 or 70-hour weeks. It doesn't matter that it's all on me, or I can't scale, or I can't do this. If I'm not so uncomfortable that I'm unwilling to accept change in my life, I will never change. Even if it's the most absolutely ridiculous value proposition out there, you can give it away for free. And we see this all the time. You can give it away for people will not take something for free. It's unbelievable. They're just not motivated to make that change. There's not enough discomfort there. It's a wild thing to me.
I don't understand that either. And it's so true what you say, is that uncomfortability, and that's the thing, is like with me, like I didn't want to work those hours. I wanted to spend time with my kids, and it was an inconvenience for me to having to ask time off when my kids are sick, or, that, and it's that uncomfortability. It's like, what is that? It's actually a drive for people in a lot of ways as well.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Doc, why, man?
Well, we like the idea of change, and we like change when we finally get there. But actual making the change, we're not a fan of. Like, that's where the paralysis comes, right? Like, sounds great. Oh, change is good. I'm going to change. I'm going to do all these things. But then you realize that the work and kind of effort that has to go into the change is like, no. But then once we get to that result, then we're super happy that it happened. Which is why, most people are so resistant to any kind of change. Even something as simple as like your favorite restaurant changes one of their menu items, or even just change the look of the menu. People freak out about that stuff. And we see it now, like with mascots or team names or logos and stuff. There's a slight change, everyone freaks out about it because they don't want to change, even if it is something that's going to be better in the long term. It's just that initial fear of not the unknown. Like, what's different? What's it going to have to do to do it?
Yeah.
Joy, do you find with your marketplace, with the people that you serve and you help, and I think for any of our listeners out there that are in this position where, hey, I just started up a business, or I started up in the last year or so, I'm really not generating a lot of revenue, or maybe I've generated none, right? And maybe I haven't even sold a thing yet. Do you think fear is one of the most underlying, most common things you see, or what are kind of the biggest pain points your market's dealing with?
Fear can be one thing, but honestly, I think the biggest thing is confidence.
Confidence, interesting.
People struggle with confidence. Honestly, I've been there myself, and I can see it in my students, and it's just, and I could even see it. Like, it's very funny though, because when I had my agency, I still do agency stuff. It's not like we don't, but my group coaching is my first thing. Literally, we've got an agency client at the moment. But when that was my main income, I did a lot of the times when I speak to clients just about their avatar. Who are they serving? Who's the people, in their avatar? Who's their ideal client? And just the confidence in actually just speaking to their clients baffled me. Because for me, as a marketer, I speak to my clients every day. Like, this is something you do. You need to understand who you're serving so you can serve them better. And I struggled to get my clients to just speak to their clients because they didn't have that confidence in who they were serving. They didn't have that confidence in their product because they had this idea, they were selling this thing and they were making money, but they're not sure if they would they were just thinking it's luck, or it's always something that baffled me. And confidence is a thing that is definitely struggles. So it's confident fear. And I think the other big thing is just believing in your product and believing in yourself that you can do it. Because I think there's a difference between belief and confidence as well. So I think those are the three top things. And I don't know if you noticed, but I haven't mentioned anything about business experience or anything, because if you don't, like marketing aside, starting a business, knowledge aside, if you don't actually have yourself ready to start, you can forget. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to make anything.
You need to know your business. I mean, we call it table stakes is maybe an overused business term, but in the world I grew up in, table stakes means like you have to be at the very least an order taker, which means whatever your business is, you need to be able to satisfy an order competently and consistently. If you don't have that down, you run into real issues. And you see that in American TV all the time, right? You see these reality TV shows where people go and open restaurants, and then Gordon Ramsay comes in and he's like, why did you open this restaurant? Like, what experience do you have in the restaurant business? They're like, no, I was an attorney. And actually, in one of our recent podcasts, we had a business broker who had an attorney open up and buy, or he bought a bakery because he loves baking, but turns out really didn't know how to be a baker and run the business of being a baker. Massive headache.
Ooh, please do that. Please do that.
A failed business. So I love what you had to say there at the end. I'm going to put you on the spot if I can, and I hope you don't mind. You mentioned you think there's a difference between confidence and belief. And I just want you to flesh that out a little bit for our listeners if you can. I think there's something maybe there that's good to dig at. Yeah,
definitely. So, okay, let me give you a little bit of a backstory. So when I started, I mentioned before, when I started 3 years ago, I did different kinds of things, right? I was in MLMs, I sold affiliate products, I had Shopify stores, like I tried everything. And I did not have the belief that that product was right. Like, I don't know, okay, you're putting me on the spot. So I'm just trying to how to explain this so it actually makes sense, right?
You can say, screw you, JB. What are you doing to me here?
And it's fine. I'm happy to answer. So I think, Doc, I'll let you do that. But if you have confidence, the confidence is not just in the product that you're selling. Because, I mean, you can't go and sell this pen and then you're not sure if this pen is actually going to be good. I mean, this pen could run out of ink, this pen could have problems, it could break easy, whatever it is, right? So this is like the belief that this product is going to be all right. I'm explaining this what's in my head. But the confidence is also, am I confident enough as a person to actually go out and sell this pen? So if this pen is flawed in many ways, shapes, or forms, can I actually then have the confidence to go and sell a flawed pen? Probably not, because the pen is flawed and you know the pen is flawed. So therefore, you're not actually going to believe that you can actually sell this pen. I hope that makes sense.
It does. And if there was any question for our listeners who are not watching on video, she is holding up a pen. I promise.
So bring it back to a movie, because that's what I love to do. If any of our listeners ever watched the movie Tommy Boy, there's a big talk in there.
Joy, have you seen that, Joy?
No, I have not.
Oh my God, we might have to put that on your list.
It is all about sales, yeah. So the idea of it, but there is the part in there where the dad is really good at sales, and what they say about him is he can sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman wearing white gloves. And it's not about the product; it is about that confidence, right? So I don't care what you're putting in front of me. If I have the confidence to do it, I can do it, and I'll get you on board. The belief is that ketchup popsicle is going to actually help the white gloves, right? So that's, what Joy is saying makes perfect sense on how those differences play. Plus I get a quote Tommy Boy, which is always fun.
Good. With Christmas season coming up, I thought you were going to quote Elf, but sure. Tommy Boy's a good one. To me, hearing what you said, Joy, it's kind of confidence is almost a symptom of belief, right? If I have belief, that will show up in confidence. If I don't have that belief, I'll never have confidence, right? It's kind of maybe correlated, and confidence maybe reliant on belief, or belief is a foundation that we can draw confidence on top of or build confidence on top of. Really, really interesting. Very helpful, because I don't know that many people do serve that marketplace. So it's really interesting to hear. It's about the fear, it's about the confidence, and it's about belief. So that to me is awesome.
Yeah. I just want to add to that. It's also the end result. And I mean, this is not just with my market space that I'm serving, but it's like in general. It's like always just think of what is the end result that you're going to give your clients. Because you can sell a coaching program that's desired to, I don't know, give them money mindset or whatever, right? Let's just use it as an example. So you can sell them a coaching program that is going to help them with money mindset. But if you don't feel comfortable in your product or your coaching program that the end result is going to be that, then you're also going to struggle to actually sell your program. So you need to make sure that whatever the end result is, that is that desire for your client or that challenge that they're going through and you want to help them through that, that is also very key. And I've noticed that as well, because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I had my agency, I lived on testimonials from clients. I got a lot of, especially when you're an agency, you get referred to people. If you don't get referred, that means you're doing a crappy job. Let's just be real. And so testimonials is how I fed my confidence, because it's like, okay, cool, I can do this. But it's also not just my confidence. It's about the result that the clients are getting. And then you believe in your product more because you're like, look at this. I'm actually making a change. I'm helping this person to make money. This means I can actually do the job. So that's at the other end of the scale as well. Is the end result.
And big picture with that, sales is all about attitude, right? It's having the right energy, and it's having the passion in what you're selling. If you don't have passion, you probably won't have energy when you're having a sales conversation, but you will surely struggle. I've seen it way too many times. Yeah, that to me was a cue for when I needed to get out of the world I lived in before. I came into partnership with the doc here and co-founded JB and the Doctor. I had just grown really tired of selling what I had to sell. And I was in a position where I was forced to sell what I didn't believe in to people that I didn't think fit, because I had to hit metrics and numbers. And that was the end of my sales career. And if I was a little bit smarter than I am, I would have gotten out faster than I did. But we all learn our lessons when we learn them, one way or the other.
Yeah, that is it. 100%.
Speaking of things, I didn't have a good segue there. I'll just ask you. I heard there's an awesome giveaway that you have for our audience, or our promotion that you'd like to share with our audience. What would that be, Joy?
So in light of Cyber Monday, Black Friday, I'm giving 25% discount on my coaching programs and my memberships. So so that's the deal. And I've got 2 little courses. So one is actually joining the membership. And then the other one is a little mini course that actually goes into the details of how to identify your ideal client. And it's supposed to be like a 7-day, you just follow the work plan, you follow the videos, and you identify a client. But the reality is there's ongoing work after the 7 days, because you have to speak to people, have the confidence, speak to people. And so those are my 2 main products. One is called the Avatar Knowledge Blueprint, which is all about your avatar. And then the other one is Unleash Your Marketing Academy. And that's literally my main product. So 25% discount on both of those.
Amazing. And of course, we can find that in the show notes.
Absolutely. All details in the show notes. And again, if you're a listener here and you're new to opening up your business, or you're within the first couple of years and your revenue numbers are still growing, I mean, this might be the fantastic opportunity for you to connect with somebody who understands what you're going through and understands how to help you take those action steps to get out of it. So that's awesome, Joy. Thank you.
You're welcome. Help as many people as we can. That's the big thing. Especially in today's time, people need it now more than ever. Not just starting businesses, but also getting out of their rut of their struggle in their business. So
it's a nice thing to be able to impact so many lives, and love to see it. So if you want to connect with Joy, contact information is in the show notes. You can also find her in the EML with us. And Joy, thank you for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you, JB. Thank you, Doc. This was fun.
It's been a real
thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
Well, I liked hearing about that marketplace, and I liked hearing from somebody across the pond, Doc.
It is always fun to hear from our colleagues across the sea.
It was a pleasure. You were right. It really was. My big takeaways from our conversation, just really quick wrap up here. Confidence, fear, and belief, and the tie-in between belief and confidence and fear. They're all interconnected. right? That's like a trifecta for a small business owner, it seems like. So really, really appreciative of hearing Joy's experience with that and helping people through that.
And I look at the synergy as we have our guests and we see that kind of thing. The message comes back, right? I think I've said this a few times on our wrap up. We hear our message in other people's messages, so we know we're in the right place. And the things that we focus on: time, sales, and confidence, right? Like that's a big part of what we work with, because those are the most important things. And to hear that synergy from other coaches, across the world, noticing those same things or the challenges, it means that there's something to it.
Well, and coaching in a lot of ways is a very simple thing, right? A lot of us know what to do. It's getting to do it and do it consistently and holding yourself accountable. That's really difficult. And that fear and, the lack of belief and the lack of confidence can really steer you away from that. So yeah, loved hearing from Joy. She's in the lab, so you can catch her in the lab. Details are in the show notes. If you or somebody you know is a service-based professional or entrepreneur, if you're listening into this and you're not a member of the lab, you absolutely should join, so you have access to professionals like Joy at your convenience. Where else can they find us, Doc?
Well, that lab that he is speaking so highly of is the Entrepreneurial Mastery Lab on Facebook. Is our free community group. As long as you also find us at JB and the Doctor on all the social media. So Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. And of course, all the information you could ever want about us is on our website at jbandthedoctor.com.
Nothing like consistency. jbandthedoctor.com and the email, the Entrepreneur Mastery Lab. So if you aren't there, get there. And if you're a new listener and you haven't liked, subscribed, or given us a 5-star review, get on it. We need your help. Please. Our goal is to help impact business owners like you to make you more successful. And we could use your help doing it.
And we're so thankful for everybody that does. And we will be thankful when you do it. And we want you all to have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Eat lots of turkey or whatever you happen to partake in. And have that food coma and lay on the couch and enjoy your family and friends.
Thank you all. JB out.
Peace out, yo.